Welcome to Inside Sim Racing. I'm Jessica Lopez.
Darren Ganji here.
Thank you guys for joining us on this special edition devoted to STCC, the game, which we have our copies of here. As a matter of fact, some of the only copies, or the only copies.
In America, as far as I know, yeah. It's only going to be available on Steam.
And it's an upcoming release by Simbin, based off the Swedish Touring Car Championships. And as a matter of fact, Darren has been eagerly awaiting to drive the Camaro Cup cars in this game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What did you think?
Incredible. You know what, I honestly never even heard of the Camaro Cup cars, Camaro Cup Racing Series before. That's been around for 20 years following STCC, and yeah, I've been eagerly awaiting to see if, what they were like.
Well, you drive a Camaro yourself, so how do they compare to your car?
Well, yeah, I guess it is pretty close. Seriously, it's very close. I was amazed at how closely the physics and how closely it feels to my real Camaro.
And what about the rest of the game? What about the Swedish touring cars? I mean, the game is based off that, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I honestly, I haven't had a chance to try those yet. I tried a lot of the tracks in the Camaro, but...
I bet you did.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Darren's gonna go in depth on the Camaros, and before he does, this segment is brought to you by Butt Kicker.
Take your sim racing experience to the next level with Butt Kicker technology. Get your Butt Kicker LFE kit today for only $300 at buttkickergear.com. As mentioned, this is a title I've really been waiting for. As a longtime Camaro owner and fan, I've never been able to compare my physical world experience driving them to the sim world. That has definitely changed. Based on the Camaro Cup Racing Series, I have something to make that comparison. This series runs at the same tracks, the same weekends as the Swedish Touring Car Championships, and has off and on for 20 years. I honestly am not sure the exact specifications of the cars they run because the site and rules are 99% in Swedish. But from what I can tell, they're close to having stock chassis and motors with about 420 horsepower. For those of you outside of the US and are unfamiliar with the Camaro, think Aussie V8s. Lots of torque, horsepower, rear-wheel drive with a live rear axle. My street car comes with a 6-speed, 350 cubic inch or 5700cc motor with aftermarket aluminum heads, cam, and other goodies, and puts out approximately 400 horsepower. The Cup versions come with very similar motors, except they are Chevrolet crate motors, ZZ4 to be exact, and come stock with 355 horsepower and also have aluminum heads. Race ready, these cars have 420 horsepower and 465 foot-pounds of torque. They run 4 speeds and I believe 346 gears. Top end, and I reached it at Nordschleife, is about 150 miles per hour. Speaking of Nordschleife, STCC the game is cross-compatible with GTR Evolution, but you can only access everything by going through GTR Evolution. It seems Evo is the mother sim here. Through GTR Evolution, you can access all Race 07 and STCC content once you own all three. You cannot do that through Race 07 or STCC, even though you may own GTR Evolution. So needless to say, I was dying to get behind the wheel of these, and they definitely didn't disappoint. From the massive amount of torque I expected to the way they handled and slid around, this is definitely a Camaro. These cars are known to be heavy, and these versions have obviously been stripped of all standard street interior, giving them a curb weight of just under 3,000 pounds or 1,350 kilograms. Still makes for a heavy race car. I'm sure I'm going to be a tad biased here, but I definitely give these new Camaros a thumbs up, and I can't wait to get on the track against some friends. STCC definitely makes for a great addition to Race 07 with these Camaros, the new tracks, and the Swedish touring cars that Sean will tell you all about. If you're a fan of some American muscle, this title is worth getting just for the Camaro Cup cars. Add the STCC cars and the new tracks, and it's a must-have for any sim racer.
All right, well, we're back here with Sean.
Hey everyone.
We've got a special report on STCC, and I know that the game has Camaros, and I also know that it's based off the Swedish Touring Car Championship, but really, what is STCC?
Well, it's an expansion pack to Race 07, and like the World Touring Car, this one focuses on the Swedish Touring Car Championships, and they run a bunch of Swedish tracks. All of them are 2 miles or under, real fun little quick tracks.
And what about the cars?
A few new cars added to the mix as well, including a new rear-wheel drive, and that's the BMS Incognito, and I put a cool video together showing you all of it.
Well, let's take a look at Sean's video.
There's a bit more to STCC than the Camaros alone. The main title, STCC, is for the Swedish Touring Car Championships. The series is a counterpart to the FIA World Touring Car Championships. The biggest difference is the Swedish variation being very local to the Nordic region. The other is the cars are allowed to be more factory built than controlled by the FIA. In addition to the Camaro Cup and the STCC cars, the sim comes with more. First off, all of the content from Race 07 comes with STCC. And if you already own Race 07, then you might wonder why should you be interested in the STCC variation. Well, it also comes with 7 different car makes, most of them seen before. It also comes with 7 tracks, all brand new, all from Sweden and Norway. Also included in this variation of the sim are the rules from the real-life STCC, like qualifying, superpole, mandatory pit stops during races. Now let's focus on what everyone really wants to know about, the cars and tracks. As I stated, STCC comes with 7 different cars. Previous Race 07 owners will recognize the BMW, the original rear-wheel drive and most dominant car in the sim. The Chevy Lacetti is also within the sim as well, as the only American car in the series. The Alfa Romeo is back again for this series as well. Coming to us from Japan is the Honda. It is well represented this time in a much more stylish color. And lastly, the Seat is another carryover from previous titles. There are also a few cars not seen before in Race 07, and those would be the Volvo, which comes in both a sedan version as well as the wagon variety. Also new to the lineup and coming to us from Germany are the Audis, and with them come years and years of racing heritage and dominance. The Peugeot has been in the sim before, but this time it's a new model. It's the quick and agile version of the 308, modernizing the Peugeot livery for the sim. And lastly, being added is only the 2nd rear-wheel drive in the STCC series, and that is the BMS Incognito. Which, as much as I have looked for, I have still never seen or heard of an Incognito. Rumor has it this actually isn't a real car, but a Mercedes rebranded to be able to be in the sim. So there are a few new cars to drool over, and the other great addition here from STCC are the tracks. All of the tracks from Race 07 are here, but we also have 7 new ones. All 7 tracks are under 2 miles in length. They are fast, windy, narrow tracks. They are also a ton of fun to drive. And many times testing these tracks I would get flashbacks of days of go-karting. How quickly these cars turn, the speeds they carry, and the little tracks. It can get a bit exhausting. The tracks included are all from the Nordic region, with 6 of the 7 being from Sweden and the last in Norway. The tracks included are Knutstorp, Sweden, with its 1.29 mile windy track. This track has a nice little bump that you will even catch some air when going fast. Sturrup, Sweden, and its 1.296 mile track. Gothenburg, Sweden comes in at just a hair over a mile, making for some very quick lap times. Falkenberg, Sweden coming in at only 1.145 miles. Karlskoga is a mile and a half in length, or 2.53 kilometers. Valar, Norway for the only track out of Sweden, and its 1.405 mile long track. And lastly, Mantorp, Sweden for nearly 2 miles of this circuit. As I mentioned, the tracks are fast. Well, they are also very well done. When it comes to track building, Simbin is one of my favorites. They just have a knack for making tracks look great and including scenery that lets you know where you are. The sim also comes with many other Simbin favorites like working windshield wipers, rain driving, working corner workers, and racing against your ghost files and more. So this version isn't for everyone. If you already own Race 07, you might not feel you need this sim. But if you're a fan of Swedish touring cars, if you love new tracks built at the highest quality, if you're an avid sim racer and want to have every car and track ever made, then STCC is for you.
All right, well that about does it for this special report on STCC the game. It should be due out worldwide any day now. You can download it on Steam, or if you live in Sweden, you can check your local retailers. Thank you for joining us on this special edition. I'm Jessica Lopez. See you next time.